"You're not getting a dime," my dad said loud enough for everyone at the funeral to hear. My aunt gasped. "Frank, this is your daughter." He didn't even look at me. "Not anymore." Then his lawyer stepped closer and said, "Sir, we need to talk. Privately. My name is Savannah Brooks. I'm 34 years old. I'm a high school English teacher and I've always believed words matter. Truth matters. I live in a small apartment with thin walls and creaky floors. I drive a used car that rattles when it starts. I'm not rich or glamorous. I never was. After my mom died when I was 9, it was just me and my dad. At least that's what I believed back then. When he remarried, everything shifted. My stepbrother Ethan became the one they always praised. I became the quiet one. The responsible one. I worked part-time through college, paid my own loans, never asked for help. My grandmother once squeezed my hand and whispered, "I've set something aside for you. For when you turn 35. I didn't think much of it. I didn't know that promise would turn into a public humiliation. What they never understood is that I'm not weak. I'm patient. If you've ever been overlooked in your own family, if you were the quiet one handling things alone, this story is for you. Subscribe if you know what it feels like to stand tall without applause. Tell me in the comments if you were ever treated like you didn't belong. And click hype so this story reaches someone who needs it. The church basement smelled like weak coffee and old carpet. People held paper cups and spoke in soft voices. My grandmother's photo sat on a folding table near a tray of dry cookies. I was still grieving when my dad decided to make his announcement. He tapped his glass with a spoon. "Before anyone leaves, I want to clarify something." I felt my stomach tighten, but he looked straight past me. "Savannah is no longer part of this family." The room went silent. Even the hum of the vending machine felt louder. "What are you talking about?" I asked. My voice shook. "You tried to manipulate your grandmother for money," he said. "You should be ashamed." Ethan snorted. "Pathetic." I felt heat rush to my face. "I never asked her for anything. She changed her will," my dad continued. "You're getting nothing." Whispers spread around the room like smoke. I could feel eyes on me. Judgment. Doubt. Then something clicked. My grandmother had mentioned a trust. A 25-year trust. It was supposed to mature next month when I turned 35. "You accessed it," I said quietly. He smirked. "You don't know what you're talking about." The lawyer standing near the door shifted his weight. He looked uncomfortable. After a moment he approached me while others pretended not to watch. "Miss Brooks," he said softly, "the trust does mature next month. You are listed as the sole beneficiary." My father's jaw tightened. He looked confident, but there was a flicker in his eyes. Something wasn't right. I could feel it. The week after the funeral I went digging. I requested documents. Bank statements. Trust records. What I found made my chest ache. My father had petitioned for early access to the trust 2 years ago. He claimed I was financially unstable. That I couldn't manage my own affairs. I stared at the papers for a long time. I've been teaching for over a decade. I pay my bills on time. I have no debt besides my student loans. He used the money to keep his construction company afloat. When I confronted him, we met at a diner that smelled like grease and burnt toast. "You lied," I said, sliding the papers across the table. He didn't flinch. "It's family money. I'm family. It was Grandma's. And I'm her son." That was betrayal number 1. Betrayal number 2 came fast. Relatives stopped answering my calls. At a cousin's birthday dinner, someone whispered loudly, "You're tearing the family apart over money." I sat there listening to forks scrape against plates. No one defended me. Ethan posted online about greedy people who sue their parents. The comments rolled in. None of them knew the truth. Then came betrayal number 3. A text from my dad. "Drop this or you'll never see this family again." I stared at the message for a long time. My hands trembled. Part of me wanted to give up. To let him keep it. To avoid more shame. Then I remembered my grandmother's voice. "Savannah, never let anyone tell you that you're less than what you are." Something hardened inside me. I wasn't fighting for money. I was fighting for truth. What they didn't know was that I record everything important. Every voicemail. Every email. Years ago, after one too many broken promises, I started saving proof. I opened a folder on my laptop. Dates lined up neatly. There was a voicemail from my dad 2 years ago. I'll transfer the trust before she finds out, his voice said clearly. She won't even notice. My hands were steady as I listened. I also had bank statements showing exactly where the money went. Transfers into his business account. Large withdrawals. Clear patterns. I wasn't reckless. I'm a teacher. I document everything. Parent meetings. Student incidents. I know the value of evidence. I had already scheduled a quiet meeting with Mr. Harold Whitman, the family's longtime lawyer. He had known my grandmother for decades. He remembered me as the shy kid who read books in the corner. The trust was clear, he told me in his office, which smelled like old books and lemon polish. Your grandmother intended that money for you alone. Did my father break the law? I asked. He folded his hands. He may have violated his fiduciary duty. Meanwhile, my dad bragged that everything was settled. He announced a formal trust reading to clear things up. He thought it would silence me. I agreed to attend. The day of the meeting, the conference room felt cold. The sound of the clock ticking was the only thing louder than my heartbeat. My dad sat straight, confident. Ethan leaned back in his chair with a smirk. Mr. Whitman opened the file. The trust was not transferable, he said calmly. I'm her father, my dad snapped. And you signed documents claiming she was incapacitated, Mr. Whitman replied. I pressed a button on my phone and played the voicemail. My father's voice filled the room. I'll transfer the trust before she finds out. Silence. Heavy and thick. Mr. Whitman looked at him. Misuse of these funds could result in legal consequences. My father's face drained of color. Ethan stopped smiling. There is also a clause, the lawyer continued. If the trustee misuses funds, control transfers immediately to the beneficiary. He slid papers toward me. Miss Brooks, you now have full legal control. You also have the right to pursue damages. My dad leaned forward. You wouldn't. I met his eyes. My voice was calm. You disowned me already. What do I owe you? No one answered. I didn't scream. I didn't celebrate. I signed the papers. I chose not to press criminal charges, but I required a full repayment plan with interest. Every dollar accounted for. Months later, I used part of the restored funds to start a literacy program in my grandmother's name at my school. Kids who couldn't afford books now take them home every week. My father called once. No anger. Just silence on the other end of the line. I didn't answer. He tried to erase me at a funeral, but I learned that the truth doesn't stay buried. If someone in your family ever used money to control or silence you, you know how deep that betrayal cuts. Share your story in the comments. I want to know how you handled it. Subscribe if you believe dignity is worth more than inheritance. And click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Your story has power. If you felt a connection to mine, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype you give this video helps empower someone else. Thank you for being here and for listening.